The offseason is here officially for the Minnesota Vikings. And folks, we're not going anywhere. In fact, we're going to keep giving you guys videos almost every single day on everything going on around the Minnesota Vikings, beginning with the head coach and GM search now underway in Minnesota. If you want to stay up to date, hit that big red button and subscribe. Let's get to 2,000 subscribers on this video right now. Some major breaking news on the Minnesota Vikings. Change is here. Head coach Mike Zimmer, GM Rick Spielman, gone. Those two, the leaders of the Vikings organization, have been fired on the NFL's Black Monday. We knew Zimmer was gone. We'd wondered, is Spielman going to go as well? In the end, both get canned by the owner, Ziggy Wilf. Has now changed, real change, massive change is here for the Minnesota Vikings. A significant development in Minnesota, as now the question is a rebuild coming? Is this a full-fledged reset, a rebuilding process underway for Minnesota with uncertainty around the quarterback position long term? We begin with the head coach, Mike Zimmer. We'd mentioned this many a time here, that it really felt like Zimmer was gone. He didn't seem that happy. He looked tired, worn down, exhausted. It's not a surprise that Zimmer's out here in Minnesota. Back-to-back years, not finishing the way they needed to. Zimmer being gone wasn't really much of a surprise. There might have been a little bit of a surprise with Rick Spielman also being fired. I thought overall did a good job for the Vikings. He'd been GM since 2012. He'd been there for a while. He was the main decision maker there. He hired Mike Zimmer back in 2014, replaced Leslie Frazier. That partnership did pay not the most dividend possible, but it wasn't a bad one in the end. He'd been with Minnesota since 2006 after spending one very brief year as the Miami Dolphins GM back in 2004. So major change here for Minnesota, as this organization is going to look very, very different, I think, moving forward. So what is your one-word reaction to Zimmer and Spielman being fired? Sound off for me in the comment section. One word only to the major change in Minnesota. I think needed probably makes the most sense, right? Expected could work as well. Zimmer in year one, right? Goes 7, and I'll focus on the head coach here. 11-5, 2015, they can't win the playoff game. 8-8 in 2016. 2017, they go 1-1 in the playoffs. They get the bye. That counts as a win as far as I'm concerned. The Minneapolis Miracle happens. Crazy stuff, right? 2018, 8-7 and 1. Actually, 2019, excuse me. 2019, that was the year there was buzz. If the Vikings didn't win a playoff game, Zimmer was going to get fired. They bring him back, 7-9, 8-9 after they beat the Bears in a meaningless Week 18 matchup to hurt their draft position. Back-to-back years, sub 500, 3 of the last 4 not making the postseason. Simply wasn't enough for Mike Zimmer. I do want to say this, though. I don't think Zimmer or Spielman were bad. Those were not bad head coach. There's not a bad head coach, not a bad GM. Both those guys, I think, are good. But just good enough wasn't enough anymore for Minnesota. It was time for a change. Now, I want to state this early. There is a very real chance Minnesota is worse next year, or they might end up being a worse team the next couple of years. Making changes opens up the possibility of going in the wrong direction. You were around 500. Could win 5 games next year, 6 games next year. Still, it was the right decision because it wasn't going to work in Minnesota. It's time to make some changes. Here was the Vikings organizational statement on the firings. Quote, "This morning we met with Rick Spielman and Mike Zimmer to notify them we will be moving in a different direction at the general manager and head coaching positions in 2022. We appreciate Rick and Mike's commitment to the team's on-field success, their passion for making a positive impact in our community, and their dedication to players, coaches, and staff. While these decisions are not easy, we believe it is time for new leadership to elevate our team so we can consistently contend for championships. This is true change in Minnesota. You're firing the head coach and the GM. You're not keeping one of these guys and then firing the other and doing the whole Dolphins thing of hire a coach, fire a GM, hire a coach, fire a GM, not at the same time. Consistent overarching change is, I believe, the best path to getting the desired results, as difficult as that can be to obtain. But make no mistake, it's a pivotal moment in the Vikings franchise, short-term and long-term to an extent. Minnesota must get these hires right. If they don't, look what happened to the Lions. I didn't think Jim Caldwell was quite the guy in Detroit, but he has been way better than anything they've put together in recent years. So, yes, change was the right move, but you got to get this hires right. You'll be able to place some prop bets on who the next Minnesota Vikings head coach will be with our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code you guys see on screen, chat125, $100 in. Boom. 125 coming your way as well. That's at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125, $100 minimum to get that sweet deposit bonus. All right, Mike Zimmer replacement time. This was our last list, and we're going to overhaul this in the coming days, I promised you. And all right, I have promised you, and we'll continue to promise you on that one. Daniel Hackett, Kellen Moore, Doug Peterson, Eric Bieniemy, Brian Daboll. Some change, I think, coming within this organization in terms of who they pursue for the head coach. If you want that full Mike Zimmer replacements video this week, Tuesday, like the video right now. Go do it. Show the bosses that you care about Minnesota and you want to get that video for us here on Chat Sports. Some names to monitor. One we will definitely talk about. If you're Minnesota, I know you might want to go offensive guy, so maybe Doug Peterson makes some sense as a stabilizing veteran. That could make sense as the experienced offensive guy. I look at Brian Flores too, though. Fired by the Dolphins in a shocking move earlier today. Flores, I believe, is a good head coach. If you want to have a defensive mind and hire the best guy out there, real argument that is Brian Flores. I'd also wonder, if you're going to rebuild, maybe you go with the young guy like Kellen Moore, someone who you're okay with learning on the job. You're not necessarily an immediate contender if you choose to rebuild. That could make sense for a guy like Kellen Moore, young and no NFL head coaching experience. So who should be the next head coach of the Minnesota Vikings? Sound off, and don't worry, we'll break this down in the coming days and weeks, frankly, with all the news and rumors on it right here on Minnesota Vikings Now.